pretty early on. Recording in progress. So I would like to set up another meeting time. I even really like kind of brought this out as an idea, but like having like more like an afternoon time that we can meet and have people kind of show up and do like somewhat of like a little event of some sort of nature. Like even just have like a table, like talking with people, kind of reaching out. So like kind of like, reaching out to the community, interacting with them, and that could be like right after the meeting or something like that. So kind of, I kind of feel I'm drawn towards just like a Saturday, honestly. Like probably the freest time for everybody if it's like not early morning. If they can't make it early morning, then they probably want an afternoon slot. Like people are busy on Saturdays, but
Like Saturday at 4.
that's kind of what I was thinking. So like Saturday at 4, we do like the meeting 4 to like 5:30, and then set up somewhere and just basically just talk to people about our vision and kind of like start to. And that doesn't even need to be like the first time or whatever, but we can start building that into like some sort of event. We could even potentially do that at the park that we're trying to set up these food courts in, but maybe it'd be better at another place that's more public.
Is this a internal meeting that you're proposing?
It's same as this
Okay.
internal meeting, and then afterwards we organize for like at least an hour of like just street networking, kind of, and like just like we have like even if we set up like a table and have people like walking by and like interested, we hand them out some information.
I think we should try and separate these ideas.
Okay,
Not that they're that the way you're suggesting it is.
Yeah.
Isn't a great idea. I think it would be great to do networking it'd be great if we went out and did an hour of networking after this meeting.
Right.
So I mean, anytime we can be doing that is great.
The reason why I was thinking that was because if we have more people coming to the meeting, then
having a plan of action right after the meeting is awesome, though. I love that idea.
That's kind of what I mean, because
now
there's people there. Right, so now we can have like, say, there's 5 people that showed up to the meeting, extra people that want to be a part of it. Now they're there to be able to participate in the next stage of it. However, that doesn't have to be, every single time or something. It's every other time or something.
Right.
And then we have another time. So basically, what I'd like to do is set up a time that's more accessible to people who are, they either on a different time zone or even more specifically, they're just like not ready.
They're second or third shift people.
That's the thing, yeah. So, so let's just say tentatively, Saturday at 4 p.m. or so. What does that sound like to you guys? Larissa, is that something that would make sense to you as well?
I'm pretty unavailable on weekends.
Okay.
Especially on a regular schedule because of not only what I'm doing right now for work, but what I'll probably be doing for work in the future. But if you record Zoom meetings, I'm also more than happy to just listen to them later. I was having a conversation earlier about that I felt I related. I don't know. I would just really like to listen. I have a tendency to run my mouth a lot, and I like the opportunity to just kind of like listen and observe for a minute. You know what I mean?
I like that. I think that does bring the point home. And this is just something I haven't set up yet. So this is part of like the organizational discussion that I want to set up the YouTube, and start putting the meetings on there and also putting other.
Okay.
Could easily hold.
I'm also off topic, but like I'm about to like really seriously get into starting a YouTube channel for some of the like health and wellness stuff that I know that would help other people who've been in my situation. Like I have a lot of knowledge I'm really trying to like put out there. So just like, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's definitely a component. That's definitely what we're trying to do with like Communitopia affiliates in particular, basically creating a network of all these different services and offerings and like a place that people can go, to be connected to all of that.
Anyone else have feelings about starting a Saturday 4 p.m. meeting?
I can hold space for that. I don't know if I can guarantee being there in person, traveling to an in-person meeting. I can do Zoom.
That's fine.
And I can hold space for that.
Yeah, I think meeting twice a week seems slightly excessive. I think if we can just share the meeting.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I wouldn't say
the recorded
necessarily,
meeting,
yeah, that's a huge important factor that we really, that I really want to get started on doing is, you know, like I'm still just kind of getting used to the whole like technology aspect of it and how we can integrate with it. But yes, I think that's highly important, and that at the very least we can have the meetings and anybody can have access to the, you know, the Facebook page or the YouTube page, I mean, or something.
And I would love it too if like the way we vote is not dependent on the meeting. If like we can share the meeting that's got like the vote that opens and the vote is open for a week. And then everyone can
Yeah.
review the meeting and vote as they see fit before
Right.
the next meeting.
And like provide their input and things, we can have the discussion, and then on the next meeting, we'll say what the vote
The
was
results
and
of
the
the
results of
voting,
it.
yeah.
I personally don't like to take in data and make a decision at the same time.
Right,
Like
exactly.
it's really important for me I tend to get emotional about data coming in sometimes. So it's like making a decision simultaneous to emotions moving is like not my ideal format for making decisions. So I've
Yeah,
been trying to separate those two things. So if the, you know, data being received and then I have a week to research or discuss with others or even sit down alone and have my own thoughts about it. Sometimes I can't hear my own thoughts because I'm, you know, surrounded by others and their programs and stuff. So it's like, it's really important for me to be able to separate completely from the unit to be able to give a firm Ashley response, a vote
Yeah.
per se. So.
Yeah, I think that works really well with a like a structure where we're proposing votes one week and then the vote doesn't actually happen until the following week, and then you have a week to
Yeah.
vote. And so like the decision won't actually be made for like 2 weeks after we
Well, I think that's
propose
important.
something new.
What we're trying to do here is creating a structure that is actually representation of the people that are part of the structure. So it requires community discussion, and we're trying to reach a consensus as well. That's tough. It's 100% consensus. That's very like challenging to do, but I think that's what this process is gonna like. It's going to really show some amazing things because of that fact that we can all be in agreement on something. And if we're not in agreement on it, we can, on that meeting, even if we can't come to that conclusion, that's okay. We just kind of work with each other to kind of understand the reasons why, and people can present their perspectives on, you know, this is the reason that I decided no on this or whatever. And then we can say, okay, cool. Well, let's try to work that into this next voting process of like how we can change it a little bit to accommodate for all the different perspectives. So we're trying to create that overarching perspective so that it's really, you know, like we can have that full agreement.
But one thing.
Yeah.
I get to eat in that, like, have you covered the articles of corporation and like,
Yeah.
because without those in the bylaws that are established in those times, we govern meetings.
I can't really hear him very well.
He's asking if we've covered bylaws and articles of incorporation.
Okay.
But essentially, like, whoever the board is going to be, like, they have the fiduciary responsibility, like, consensus is necessary from the organization, from the board, like,
right.
There's going to be different votes for different things, but I just want to be a process out of people.
I would love to speak on that. There's a great model for developing cooperatives for like co-ops called sociocracy. Sociocracy like revolves around this idea of like teams that are doing the work being responsible for the votes that affect the work that they're doing. So like when action is being taken, that doesn't affect the collective vision, you know, making sure that that vote is in alignment with the articles of incorporation and the mission statement, of course, but also not involving outside teams to make decisions on work that's being done on the spot, like while it's happening. And still revolving around like a consensus model, making sure that everybody in that circle is involved in the decision in full agreement.
You have maybe, have different maybe structure that we give authority to maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling.
Sociocracy calls it just circles. They're
Yeah.
just different circles that are doing different tasks.
So yeah, and I like that. Essentially, it's like we want this way to be able to distribute the knowledge and then be able to receive the information from the collective back. So, and then to be able to put it into that one space to be able to actually go
And the
through and
power
make
too. The
decisions.
power is
Right,
decision-making power.
right. I love that. Okay, sweet. So definitely, so as far as articles of incorporation, board members, those are things that are necessary to like figure out to get the nonprofit actually started. You know, I don't really know much about like what goes into the articles of incorporation. How do I go about doing that? I don't know if you haven't. Curious with that? Okay, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, you've established some of the nonprofit essentially. So then we can kind of work together on that as well, just independently. So as far as we can kind of continue a little bit, organization, one thing I want to do this next week is definitely start setting up the Facebook groups that are going to be associated with the different projects. So that's like, and then basically I was talking with Princess about it too, like, you know, essentially we want to have a series of questions, because when you join a group on Facebook, it's like questions, really doing like an analysis on what people are interested in and what they're trying to be involved in, how like what their level of input that they want to be a part of. So that
So
we
we
have
need to
this,
come up with the questions and then make.
yeah. So questions for the groups. So that way, it's just a analysis of the people. So it's like, you know, there's, you know, I want to make sure something that we have, you know, all the rules and stuff associated with the group like really well laid out.
We need an admin for each group that isn't you or you.
Right. Yeah, we need, yeah.
Not
we
saying
need-
that you guys couldn't do it, but like you already.
No,
have
no,
to go
you're-
next
no,
to
you're-
your
no, you're-
upload.
You
You need
need-
to-
Delegating.
Thank you.
You need
Yeah.
to outsource, you need to outsource a lot of these projects because there's a lot of people involved, and the more people you get involved, the more personal it is for them.
Mhm.
So just outsourcing some of the projects that you're working on.
That's sort of the.
That could even be one of the questions as you come into like, are you interested in being an admin on this page or a leader on this particular?
And I do think that will
Just
kind of
what level of
organically, yeah, that'll organically develop as like leaders make themselves apparent. Like, you know, we're not gonna really be overwhelmed with this stuff. Because like, if it gets overwhelming, like people are already like, there's
They're
already
already
too much
taking it.
activity showing up, then we're like, oh, this person is the most active here. Like, they're an obvious choice to lead this project.
You want
You-
people
you
to
see what I'm saying?
volunteer, so
Yeah.
you don't just want to be like, hey, you're active, you do this.
No, I can't delegate something to someone who's not consenting to like take on a task, but that's when we start to have those conversations with people with, you know, one-on-one, where we're like, hey,
Were you saying
you're
something?
great.
Were you saying something, Larissa?
No, I'm just giggling.
No worries. Nice.
Non-consensual delegation.
Right. So
Yeah.
also to note too, this next week, I'm gonna create the official like business page. Tanner's even requested that, and I also think that that's really smart. And I kind of want them to be doing different sorts of things. The business page will really be like bringing everyone kind of together, and then I want to kind of funnel that into the Communitopia friend profile. So that's the one that we're really interacting with people and setting them up with like, say, the groups and things like that, and like with the chats, and like that's kind of like, that's the more like friendly face of Communitopia, whereas the business page will just be like the thing. If anyone has any sort of casual interest, they just want to click like, and we're gonna send it to 1 trillion people and just get like the ball rolling of like a million people, you know, liking the thing.
Yeah.
Then we start funneling them into the Facebook profile, where we start to sort of filter out through that and figure out what sort of level of participation they want to get, you know?
Yeah, I see the friend profile as being like the recruiter and
Yeah.
and the page is like the funnel
Yeah,
that it's
it is.
putting people into.
Right, exactly. And so, and then it, when we funnel people, we're basically gonna funnel them into different channels. They could be a part of a number of different channels, but it's like, but kind of figuring out what their sort of distribution of energy and attention wants to be. If they really love art, but they're like interested a little bit in food forests, then cool, we can set them up with that. But it's like, but if you're like a leader in the arts and the community, then like, let's get you going on that, and then we can integrate that with the posts and things and stuff, and you know, and it could really be
I have
like
a question.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, are you on any other forms of
Thank
social
you.
media, or is it just Facebook right now?
It's just Facebook right now.
Okay. As you guys do stuff that's like, I know it's shitty, but like, I don't know, shitty's not the right word, but as you do things that are cool and that you know other people are gonna look at and be like, wow, you know how when you're doing something fun and you're a part of like a movement or a festival or an event, people will be like, how do you do this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
pick those moments and try to remember to like save memories so that you can put that onto like Instagram and things like that as you move forward. And it's hard for me to remember to take photos, and I just feel like because I feel like social media is kind of shallow and I get really unmotivated to do it, but like it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, let's make
Oh,
it
yeah.
deep. Let's make it deep, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what I want. So I love that idea, and I
Yeah.
definitely think we should develop more social media profiles. I mean, we should be on every single social media and just it's like all doing it. I know, and this is the truth, and you know, and Princess is right. We need a link tree, but that's the thing, you know, we can only do so
Yeah.
much at a time, right? And so we're
Yeah,
slowly
for
developing. So let's start. Well, this is true too, and like you know, and the more people that want to participate in the actual social media aspect of it, and they're willing to put the time and energy into it. Absolutely. you
Yeah.
know.
Our only limitation is time and having people to
Right.
make these things
Yeah,
happen.
exactly. That's
But I
definitely
definitely
something
agree.
that could be delegated.
One, you have 3 different synergies of reels, so like reels. Like you make
TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, well, Instagram, Threads, Facebook are all an umbrella.
Mhm.
So like they all synergize with each other. And so you post on one, you post on 3, you choose that way.
Yeah, there's applications that
Threads is compatibility.
Oh, Threads.
Okay.
Are people using Threads? Because I
Yeah, there.
just like talking about it and I really haven't seen much about it on my end.
Yeah, but
It
it doesn't have to have perfect math. A lot of other stuff has. It's just like we've
I've
got
worked
it's like a
with it for a
tool. It's
while.
just a tool.
Yeah.
It's like a
I've
what was
been
that?
using for a while too. Is that, are people still doing it?
we're on every platform. Just like find activities. Threads is a little more useful than Instagram because
I could see what we're doing really like just exploding with Twitter. If we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
if we could all get like connected to a Twitter.
I think-
Yeah, whatever.
I think a lot of people are moving to Threads. I think a lot of people are really sick of Twitter. It's good to be on Twitter, but like it's getting weird over there.
yeah, like Threads has a brighter
Right,
future
isn't it?
than like
But
Twitter does.
Have you seen the thing about how if your Threads account or your Instagram or something, like it's like taken down or like suspended that like it's the one or the other or something? Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I heard a lot of people had a problem with Threads with, is like if your Instagram or one of them they were connected, so if one got shut down, they both.
Yeah, I mean they are intertwined, but
Oh,
A lot of people didn't like.
yeah.
We definitely
don't get
need to
banned.
keep our content.
What's that?
What'd you say, Larissa?
I just said so don't get banned.
Yeah, don't get banned.
Yeah. We just keep our content as like vanilla as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
whole thing's gonna be very like wholesome as well. We're trying to like develop a lot of like, you know, family type events and things like that. Which, you know, honestly, I think at this point, I think it's 10 o'clock, so let's kind of shift gears a little bit. I think we discussed a decent bit of some things about the organization there. So, one of the things that people are really interested in participating in, and a lot of those people are not here on the call right now, but it is the food forest aspect. One of the things that we're doing right now, and I think probably everyone here knows it, but we're going to be starting to do community gardens, essentially food forests around in the local parks. I feel like Jessica's just going to straight up run with this stuff. We want to put energy into her and help her, accomplish these things because she's ready for it.
Doing it.
She's doing it. She's already doing it. She went to city council. She's talking to them about, basically they've already given her approval essentially of being able to do it.
Nice.
At least the people were like, we're good to go. Like, you can definitely do that. We'll connect you with the right people. So that's what she was
Yeah.
saying today. That like basically they said like basically these are the people to talk to. There's already a food business here, and we can definitely make it happen. But let's connect you.
Yeah.
And she's gonna connect us with that, and she does the Florida Wild School, which is basically a family event teaching kids and apparently their parents. And I assume it can also be open to like adults, but she said that there's also kind of like a light background check and things like that because it's like basically teaching kids. But basically having events that are helping kids learn about this stuff and also like planting the plants and things. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you talked to Jungle Jay at all? Because I know he's already doing that. You remember we went and visited his location. He's doing the educating the community and has a forest already up and going and,
Yeah.
trying to teach the local mothers that are like going to the grocery store with their kids and coming back with cereal boxes, trying to teach them how to grow gardens in their front yards or even
pretty
just
sure-
on his property.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's did we go visit his property?
Yes, we did, babe.
When was this?
When we were living at like Dade City at the time, I think. We went out there with Tanner and he was talking about it was like me and you were there. You had to have been there. If you weren't there, then I'm sorry, but you should have been there. Tanner was there with me.
I think I
And if you
wasn't
don't know,
there.
then okay, well then we need to connect you with Jungle Jay because he's already doing that. He's been doing it for at least
Yes.
4 or 5 plus
So-
years.
Jungle Jay
Um,
is definitely on my list, and I've been talking with him a little bit. I really want to go out there because basically the reason why I think I haven't been there is because I've been wanting to go out there and see his property. Maybe that I'll just say field trip.
Do you want me to just message him now and then we
What's
can
that?
kind of start that going? Do you want me to message him and start a
Yeah,
dialogue?
if you have a rapport with him. Yeah,
I think Tanner has a stronger rapport, but
Sure.
I could go on my own, I don't mind. It might be advantageous for us to just do it independently. But Tanner
could do
does
it
have an in
independently.
with him already.
I've been interacting with him and talking with him about this concept. It seems he's a little skeptical of me in various ways, but that's fine. I have met him at a convergence, a permaculture convergence, and I really like his what he's doing. I love his energy. Like we talk quite a bit. So
Is this possibly a recruiting conversation?
not
In the sense that
it kind of is. It's food forest though, because he's literally got a food forest that
He's literally doing it already.
I
And
understand.
absolutely, he should be one of the teachers. And
Yeah.
so, yes, we want to be able to bring people to him and have him as a team leader, ideally.
Right, so it's a recruiting conversation in the sense that there's these different levels of involvement and we need a strategy, a system for how we're going to make these introductions to people of different contribution, like different levels of contribution, different skill sets of contribution and
Well, I think,
what roles we see for them and inviting them to see a role for themselves.
I think one of the, so yes, I definitely agree. I think basically we approach it essentially, and really we need to create like documentation, like, and the presentation really, that is kind of an overall encompassing, explanation of what we're doing with Communitopia. And then to present that, and then basically what we'd be asking is like, how can we help you? And how can we like collaborate? So what would you like from that? If you like, if this does not seem like any interest to you at all, that's totally fine, and we can move. We can just
Sure.
continue forward in like whatever ways we can.
It's
So,
as
like,
simple as like making a flyer
yeah.
that we can like send to people who we think are prospective volunteers, food forest owners, like landowners. Like we need different strategies to reach people that we see having different roles and
highly agree.
invite them.
It's also, it would mean, like, for instance, in the case of a vegan food forest with Jungle J, I think it would mean, it would, first off, I want to just go see it for my own eyes and be able to just go with my eyes. So other than having that in-person interaction, and like, even like we've been doing kind of like Zoom meetings or whatever, at least it's like a personal interaction where we're like connecting, and that's like kind of the whole point. Like we're trying to put as much human into this as possible. And so I think like, especially for people that we feel like that would be a great contribution to what we're trying to accomplish, and we could contribute to them as well. We'll kind of continue to develop this connection with them. I would love to plan, maybe even right now, we could plan a field trip out there for anyone who wants to come. Ashley, if you'd like to join with that, I'd really enjoy that as well.
It'd be really great. I mean, I'm still on this train of thought of like, how can we reach the most people, right? Obviously,
I'm gonna have to be for the integration piece, that's
Sorry?
something that, I'll have to be there for the networking. I'm not gonna just send people that he doesn't know to his property, I'll be there to,
Correct. Well,
make sure to connect those dots.
I do know him, and I've been talking with him for years. I just haven't seen his property. And I have discussed a little bit about what I'm doing with Communitopia. And he's basically given me the thumbs up on it, but then he was skeptical about a post I made, at like basically for the financial advising thing. That's fine though, it's no worries. And I think, we kind of like understood each other at the end of it. But either way, regardless, I mean, I would love to have you there, and I think that's also important, especially since you do have a connection with him as well. And I think it'd just be important for us all to go out there and just see what he's got going on, and be able to discuss ways. Because honestly, really, what I would like to do is anybody who's interested in food forests, for instance, we can set up with him where we just send people out to his property and he can teach them and show them what to do with some things. Same with Earth Farm 9, which is Randy that I've been talking to, who's doing the same thing with like workshops and things. So we can start funneling people into the right places with the teachers, and they can contribute to the land, and it will gain their knowledge will increase, and then they'll be able to start to apply it into land that we buy or
level up.
Right. So it's just basically putting them through the training program. So that's the thing that I would basically be mentioning to Jungle J and what I would like to have happen. It sounds like that's already what he's trying to do. So if we could send more people his way and give and be able to support that, I think he'd be super open to that. And I'd like to also do the same thing with, and I'll just put this down. I would like to do the same thing with this guy, Randy, who does Earth Farm 9. That's down in Pine Island, which is like a little further south of us. So it'd be really great because then we'd have, and then also our friend Joel as well. So we have a few properties already that like people are trying to develop, and that can be contributing to that. Brazo as well.
Potentially.
I'll put like a little question mark because he's like kind of always on the fence about things, but that's fine. But basically, we have a number of different properties that we can start developing, and that's kind of what I think too, is that we develop the food forest where it makes the most sense, and some of that can be in like local St. Pete. And I think the more that we can grow food forests that people are just seeing everywhere, like the community is seeing, they're like, what the hell? Like there's all this, like it's like springing up out of the ground, like all these like fruit trees and things like that, and suddenly it all becomes available. Well, we've got that available to anyone who's walking by. That's kind of what Dad was talking about. Like, what if somebody comes through and just like picks all the mangoes? Well, if they pick all the mangoes, they pick all the mangoes. What we'd really like to do, and like maybe we even have a sign out there that says like kind of teaching people how to, be respectful of the exchange. Take what you need. People will do what they do, but what we want is also these other communities that are private and protected, that we can then work with those landowners to understand what the exchange can be. And so then we can start bringing those into, say, St. Pete and Tampa area, and then we can start you know, straight up in all parts of the world start creating that, you know, over time and like kind of really start to saturate it all.
And, there becomes a critical mass where we've just planted too many trees and somebody can't come through and take all the mangoes,
Right.
because they just don't have time.
That's the idea.
Community garden here in
Wait.
Pittsburgh also gives a lot of their food to the community food bank. Like the social infrastructure in Pittsburgh is pretty awesome, but we only have the one farm that's like actively a community, you know, let's try to feed people thing going on here. And it's pretty hard to have like a fully functioning food forest because of winter, and we have a white powdery mildew here that like takes over fruit trees pretty bad. I've talked to a bunch of people about doing something here in Pittsburgh, and I keep running into things. So I keep meaning to just go to that garden and meet those people and like talk to them about what they're doing and maybe get involved. It seems to be a more sustainable way to actually disperse food to people who need it. So food forests in Florida are a lot different. There's a lot more people in need. There's a lot less social infrastructure for people who are hungry, and the food, there's pretty much food you can grow 100% of the year down
Right.
there, something. So, but having private properties that also disperse food through like a community food bank is a really good idea, because there's not a lot of food banks down there for everybody, like given to the public. They're through churches or through certain programs. I had to go to food banks in Jacksonville when I was like 19, and they were giving me milk that was already spoiled and stuff. Like it was pretty rough. So
And that,
And I think that speaks to like this team model that we're developing, where like we need a individual, like a regional or even just a local approach that's gonna, one size isn't gonna fit all. So we definitely need the flexibility to adapt.
and it's definitely about creating the distribution networks properly so that people know this food's available. And I think you bring a really good point, because I think something that could really make some waves is the quality of it. If we're actually growing like organic food straight from like the fucking source, and it's like coming from a really good spot and people know that, and then we're also distributing that to homeless people, and not just like, you know, shitty, like, you know, all the rotten vegetables that are like almost about to go, and that's what they get. It's like now suddenly we're starting to saturate it with all this really good high quality food. People start to see that, and you know, and I really think, like, for instance, if we start really putting energy into this in St. Pete, you know, it's gonna turn some eyes when suddenly St. Pete is starting to just feed itself, and it's like now it's all kind of suddenly becoming available. Suddenly everyone really has all the access to the food. You can just go and pick trees, and you're right, because it's like Florida's the perfect place to do that, because it can just, you can just set it and run it, just leave it essentially. It's like it's just gonna grow in abundance, like so. Some components definitely, like with northern states and things, you know, the creation of like greenhouses and like more protected, you know, even biodome kind of structures would be really helpful to kind of supplement that, you know, for the winter.
exactly.
Here.
Need like Hugo Mounds greenhouses, and there's a lot of leftover building materials because it's such a dense city. Like I have a shed full of windows right now for my own greenhouse at my house. So like there are affordable options for things like that. I'm very interested in getting involved, because everybody here just seems to be like, yeah, that's too hard of a task. And I'm really determined to get more free food available in Pittsburgh. Because a lot of it, like you have to have a car to drive up to the distribution center or be a senior to get food from the food bank. And a lot of people in poverty here don't have cars to drive to the food bank, you know? But yeah.
Nice. Well, that's definitely something that I'd love to continue talking to you about as well. Just like because, you know, obviously we're trying to, you know, kind of create this movement across the country and stuff. And, you know, I mean, it's not as easy for me to be of assistance down here, but if there are ways that we can continue to be assistants to each other to make that happen, keep me engaged on that, because that's very much in line with what we're trying to accomplish collectively. And you know, and it would be really great to kind of get a Pittsburgh branch going, you know what I mean, and like be able to, you know, get sense of it, like even if we connect with people who are up in that area that might be able to help you out, that are interested in that, we can kind of start to like reach out to
Yeah.
that, you know, put the tendrils out and see how we can kind of start helping each other with that.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if Ren, have you talked to Ren? She's over in Cincinnati. She's not as active on Facebook.
I haven't discussed with Red in Montana yet, but I really need to. And I think that would be a
Yeah.
great place to start as well, because I mean, I know that I mean, have you been to their, I know, did Ashley or you either go to the property that they have been developing?
Yeah, I'm planning on going, and my birthday this
Okay.
next year, so I'm not planning till next summer, but I just can't plan another trip until my boss said not until next summer. I can't take a day off, so.
I understand.
He asked very politely, he said, please, after this trip to Maryland, if you could not take a day off until next summer, that'd be great. And I said,
All right.
Such a cutie. It's just,
Yeah.
please.
I've been very, very patient for a very long time, so I'm.
Well, that sounds good. You know, obviously
Yeah.
everything's flexible and we can continue to develop these things. You know, it's good to just at least remind me that I should probably just give Montana a call and just see how things are going, because it's been a long time since I talked to him, and you know, I
Yeah.
love the homie, so you know, it'll be good to and also Red, of course, and see what they're kind of feeling. And maybe that's how we can kind of get things going up in that area. Maybe they'll be, you know, willing to, you know, kind of collaborate on that and see what's up. But yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
So,
To do still, but
I mean,
maybe.
she's already doing a lot, like she's
Yeah.
full-time farm life, you know, she's got quail and pigs and she's got,
Yeah.
you know, trees and fruit and all this stuff that she's got going on up there, so.
nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm, you know, it's like I'm envious in a sense too, because like I was like half just ready to just book it and go like do it with them, but yeah, so that's 10-16.
Yeah, you have to really be willing to unplug, you know.
I know,
That's
well,
like
that's the
kind of-
truth, and to
she's-
be, I'm sorry, what? Oh, so yeah, like to be honest too, and that's the thing, I really love this community in St. Pete. I'm really heavily connected here, and you know, as much as like sometimes the frustrations of my life draw me to feeling like I need to just book it out of here and go live in the woods and eat sticks and grass. You know, but like, you know, but to be honest, I really am excited about what we're building here in this particular space. I think it's prime for it. It's a really great place for it, to be a really good first example of how I can kind of get these things going. And then also being able to kind of spread out and create these other pockets of growth. So it's like, you know, as much as, yeah, I would love to just run up there and like, even, you know, with me, like going to North Carolina to stay with my mom, it's like, that's an option, but I'd rather not do that. I'd rather continue developing here. That could also still open up the option for collaboration in Asheville, which I definitely want to start connecting with some of my Asheville fam, and seeing what we can make happen there. And I mean, if we start doing that and just finding these kind of different pockets that we can, you know, that's already making the things happen, honestly. And then just empowering them and connecting the people to everybody, you know, it can spread really quickly. So,
I think that kind of brings us to something I would like to talk about, which is recruiting.
Sure.
Because there are so many people out there already doing this work, that, you know, we don't necessarily have to reinvent this wheel if we can just get a coordinated effort among us, the people that are here, to reach out to these people and really just casting a sort of like a net to catch these people looking for collaborators, you know, people who are already into these things. If we can use social media to promote what we're doing and who we're looking to connect with, I think we're going to see this grow a lot faster than if we try to build it ourselves just among people who are here. So,
I
There are
highly
people
agree.
that I want to connect
That's
that
just my
will make
thought.
it like move faster and that are already doing stuff like this. But before I present it to them, I would like for things to be a little bit more organized so it makes sense.
Yeah, and then what basically it's like that's up to you and every person that's involved to decide at what point they feel confident and ready to start connecting with people. But
When
the
is
faster we
next
can
week?
make that happen, That's 2 weeks from now.
Okay,
2 weeks.
maybe I will encourage those people to come out there or join on Zoom with like a personal message instead of just inviting them. Cause I did just like send out the invite this time, but I didn't like send a message with it. I realized that after I did it.
So, and something that we can do too is essentially just like anyone who is interested that you think might be interested. And if I don't know them or whatever, we don't necessarily even need to add them to the group chat initially. We can just send them in a chat with me, and we could just talk and just get to know each other. I can give them a call and stuff. And we can kind of just connect. And even if it's like basically at that point, if they're not comfortable with the level of organization and not yet, then we just say that's okay. Well, we'll show you when we'll show you how it goes.
Did you make an event or an event thing for next event in 2 weeks?
It says, I believe it's set.
Is it recurring?
Don't know if I
We
did
can, we
actually. set
can,
it
we can
recurring.
create it to
But
repeat,
basically
yeah.
just say, we'll just set it
Oh,
as
okay.
reoccurring, I think. But you're right. Oh, I'll write that down because, that's important. Yeah, recurring event. But yeah, so I mean, basically the idea and what Blitz is mentioning is essentially that, we're trying to spread wide and deep, right? We're trying to create these large teams of people that want to put effort into. And it's going to take a while to grow, but when we have leaders who are bringing together the people that are already doing it and already wanting to do it and want some more support. So, for instance, I'll even mention, I met up with the dude Justin Marlin yesterday. His brother Jason Marlin is also interested in this, and he said he's been, trying to get this stuff started for 10 years and stuff, and like, and I can sense that he's already excited just even from like a short like 40-minute in-person meeting that we had yesterday. He's about it and wants to join. So, and he's got a group of people that he's already been working with. So that's how it kind of spreads out in this way, where it's like we start to connect the right people with each other, and then it's all just happens. It all just happens.
What?
Which one?
I
Oh
said,
yeah,
you got a lady yesterday at the dinner.
Uh-huh.
yeah, absolutely.
It's already doing community stuff.
Right, we met somebody yesterday at the financial advising, the meeting, the kind of like gathering we have after that. And she goes to Roots to Crown, and she's like, said she started an intentional community as well. And it's like
Invite her and those people to the
Her,
event.
her,
Yeah,
yeah, her roommates.
absolutely. Tons of people that we can keep inviting into the fold, and like and really like we're inviting people to like even this this
And I'll
group,
take the
this
message.
meeting. This meeting is kind of important too. The other one, the workshop, I think maybe we keep that out. It doesn't necessarily have to be just like a Communitopia discussion, but
It definitely wasn't.
it wasn't, and it probably won't be as far as that type of workshop goes. But it is important, the type of stuff that we're talking about there. And I think, really kind of understanding what the community is like looking for, and like that's why we talked about dreams yesterday and things. But, the actual planning stages and things too, we'd want to get people kind of caught up, right? If they're like participating in the discussion. And fortunately, like for instance, like Larissa, you're joining in early enough at this point where, it's still kind of all being formulated. But once it starts getting to that point where it's like a fully functioning nonprofit, we don't want to overwhelm people with thinking like, oh, well, I can't be involved in this because it's already like going, it's already, it's already
No.
rolling. It's like,
No,
no, we still have plenty of places to set you up to accomplish your goals. Like we want to get you doing what you dream of doing and to provide that support for it. And so then setting them up with that and making it so that they plugged into a system. They don't have to come and make all the decisions and like feel like they need to participate.
They just need to show up and get their hands dirty.
Show up and get their hands dirty. So that's what it is. That's the creating of those platforms for people to say, let's put some energy into, the food forest. Okay, cool. So you can go here and there's already teams of people and they could even guide you. And if you wanted to create your own project on your own land, then we just come up with a way to be able to do that.
Literally, like, just have like a template on the website where people are like proposing a project and supplying all the information to allow the collective to consider this project.
Right. That's a good bet. Well done. So, yeah, and so basically, and then I guess in the nature of like recruiting and advertising and things, obviously we're all welcome to bring those people that we know, and we encourage them to bring the people that they know, and at the same time too, the further reach that we got, like even what you did with like the door-to-door canvassing, I think there's a lot of power in that and being able to just show up and, you know, people can slam as many doors as they want in their face. High five.
No,
Oh,
Raising
okay.
it.
whenever you just said that, it reminded me what he said, like with the threads thing, just people are everywhere. You just have to explore every avenue to get to them, and there's going to be different people all over the place.
Mhm.
That would
Yeah,
be gonna
There's
suggest
no wrong way to
the-
recruit,
the old
really.
LinkedIn.
That's why like door to door, that's really good, that
There's a
you're
lot of
comfortable doing
professionals
that, and
out
like,
there,
go do
people
that.
that
Yeah,
Really
what,
good.
now that we.
Because there will be people that respond really good.
Yeah, too many conversations, but that's okay. It's okay. Dad was saying, LinkedIn is also a good platform, and it honestly is, and it's like kind of like connecting on the professional, like that's like the more business level thing.
So along with that, member management system, are kind of critical to today's nonprofits. So that'll be where we kind of handle all the updates, subscribe, things of that nature. So that like we set them like our landing page, front page of Utopia, the tracking, entire system that allows them to basically get in, interact, and you can build it in a way that you have these 50 groups for different days, for different subpages, that, but that will be where we want those first flow going of like what the people that we talk to, like want them to become part of the organization and they must membership here maybe. And then social media or posting, publishing, notifying, we can write everything on the platform, push social media.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But that's basically how it's built out in today's world. That's really effective.
Yeah.
Nice, I like that. Yeah, so I guess, you know, just a quick mention of that. So like how do dues work essentially with nonprofits? Is that just like,
The IRS says that you have to be, this is how it used to be. It used to be $3 a month to be a member of a nonprofit.
okay, so in order to actually be the member, that there's a requirement for donation to the nonprofit.
According to the IRS.
Okay, I mean, that's actually honestly perfect because then it's like, and that can kind of even be built into the concept of subscriptions, right? So it's like, you know, they're paying their dues, but I want to establish what the benefit is for the person who is a part of that nonprofit organization. So it's like, you know, even if it's just $3,
I
you
mean,
know,
think about the first time you found community, right? What was the value to you when you discovered that there was a community of people that cared and felt and thought the way you did?
I mean, I'm already.
Not only that, but
Yeah.
now they have access to land, they have access to resources, they have
Right.
the ability to create a project and submit it to the collective, and like there's a lot more value here than just $3 a month. So,
Right, I agree, and I think, you know, as far as like if we open up all these different like classes and things like that, you know, that you maybe even getting like, you know, it could just be a discount or whatever, you get half off or whatever because you're part of the Communitopia organization, and then we're just sending like 20, 30 extra people to Jungle Jay's, you know, class at Vegan Food Forest, and you know, that's people he wouldn't get, and he's like, you know, he's charging like $50. Well, you know, now that's like basically the other 20 would be going to us, and then we're sending him a whole bunch of people, and they're planting on his food forest. So it's like it's all mutually beneficial, and it's like, but it's like being able to create that whole list of like all the things that come with being a part of it.
But basically, you can are single things of like the perpetuity of nonprofits because like yeah, I'm setting people's classes, teaching people training, fun things like donation to outfit that, and also sell products, but like that's more like
Sure.
that's not nearly as important as the kind of revenue coming through the donation. Yeah, like we'll have the donation department inside the government system that will be able to send out paperwork that we need to pay for the donations. But
So what is what can we use for like a member management system? That's basically CRM, right? Basically. Yeah,
You'd have a CRM that's integrated with your
with the nonprofit.
yeah,
like,
with your
more than
website,
that,
yeah.
though. CRM
okay, I see. Okay, nice. Yeah, and then that, that also goes with like, grants, and then also, I guess, I'm doing okay at keeping track of the actual minutes, but, since it's 10:30 now, we can kind of move on maybe to,
Closing remarks.
well, let me just quickly at least throw out tiny homes in here. I want to kind of, especially for people, if they end up wanting to, watch the recording and stuff, they're interested in this stuff. I want to kind of touch on what I'm trying to accomplish with all that. So I'm going to be renting out that space as long as Mike is fine with it. I'm going to talk to him about it. Sounds like he's probably open with it. But that space, I think we could easily build 2 tiny homes in there. We could basically have 2 of them going at a time even. And I want to build my first tiny home. Ashley and her dad Tom, I think would be, Tom in particular would be very helpful in the creation of all of that. And we'll actually like go through the process of like the design and the coming up with the materials and potentially even contributing financially to it. And I want to make sure that's worth it to him as well, and that we have like a good plan with all of it. It would be really great to have, and this is what we kind of talked about too. We're making it could be a nonprofit tiny home building business that we are still selling the tiny homes.
Sure.
But then it's the money is then being funneled back into the nonprofit. It's not going into our pockets, but then we are being paid to create the tiny homes through the
course.
nonprofit.
Of course.
So that's basically what I've been discussing with Alex as well. I think that'll be a really a banger of a start for the team on that. And frankly, I need my own damn tiny house to live in. So I'm gonna like build this thing and put as much energy as I can into it, and as much money as I can into it that I can offer, so that I can so that we can kind of find the right exchange for what it looks like with all that, and then I'll have this prototype that then we just start marketing like crazy. We start to market the prototype and we say we can create custom built pieces for people, and selling them at like extremely reasonable prices that are competitive with the normal tiny home market. And it's a nonprofit that's connected to all these things. I think people will like be really interested in all that. Like they'd be like ready to like they'd prefer to buy from a scenario like that. At least, especially people in our communities and things that are looking for tiny homes, they'd much rather do that than go, say buy an RV from from a manufacturer. Not to say that that's necessarily anything wrong with buying RVs or anything, but to create something that's created from sustainably grown and like, or even just, what Alex was talking about. I may have mentioned this already, but going out to some of these people's property and clearing out the trees that need to be cleared out, so that they can make space for some food forests. And that doesn't mean all of them. You're not clear cutting. You're selectively finding the trees that it's like this one is, this one's the right one. This one's the right one. You take them out, and then we mill it down ourselves. We get all the machinery that's necessary, and we build the things out of that. And then literally people will know where the resources even came from, and it'll be way higher quality resources than say getting, shitty pine from Home Depot, right? And so, and we'll have, and we could even potentially, things could potentially be cheaper even with all that, because you have all of it, you have the chains associated with all that. So yeah, so basically I'm gonna be renting out that space, and can also do like art projects and things in that. That's something else that we can kind of start connecting people to. If there's people that we know that are that work in construction, that might want to be a part of a project like that. Ron is definitely one that's in my mind about that. It might be something that he might want to collaborate on. But definitely continuing to reach out. That's another type of person that we're looking for. So, we're kind of, trying to develop that branch of things simultaneously with the food forest thing.
So I asked ChatGPT how much time it takes to build like a 10 by 12 tiny home. That's probably not the right dimension, so I'm reforming the question, but it estimated that it takes like 400 to 800 hours, depending on the skill of the team.
Yep.
And that sounds realistic. Like I could see,
Yeah.
I could see it taking quite a bit of time to make this happen. So
Well, many hands make
obviously, right.
So that's the thing, if it's, you
It's
know,
still gonna take the same amount of time, but we can cut down the project time by having more builders.
right, so it's like basically,
But there
Yeah.
is a limit on how many builders is useful
this
also.
is true, yeah, there's diminishing returns, so, you know, and I'd say, you know, if it was basically me and Tom and Alex working on the creation of the first tiny home, I'm pretty confident that we could get it done within like 100 days, you know, we could get it done within probably 3 months, maybe a little bit more. You know, even with some of these, you know, kind of extra bells and whistles of like adding some artistic flair to it. This is the prototype, so we want to put as much energy as we can into making it very appealing, but we also know that it's just a prototype and there's going to be some problems
I was
with
gonna say that
it.
too, that you make this thing a little bit more unique or unique.
Unique, yeah.
Add uniqueness to it compared to all the other tiny homes, so that has design elements like you just said that are actually unique to this vision, let's say.
Yeah,
It would be really cool if there were like planters built into the side of this thing
I
where
love it.
food is growing
I
up
was
on the
thinking-
side of the.
Compost toilet too would be perfect, and if you could manage to make it so you could literally use the
Compost tea toilet.
Yeah, so essentially like that, yeah, and so you have like literally a composting system that just, it's a roller essentially that's built into the thing. And then you, and it like flips it over, and so, okay, like you have to like let it like process. But then, you know, you're putting it literally into the planters that you're growing, you got some solar panels on the top.
Right.
You know, and then, yeah, I mean, that's a good bet, and then I was thinking too, you know, what if we made it into a rolling advertisement for Communitopia too? So we could literally have Communitopia on the side, all painted up a mural and make it like really pretty, really beautiful. And then it's like everywhere we go, people be like, what the hell? We have like the scan code, we have, you know, our website, you know, donate to our nonprofit, you know, that type of shit. Like people be honking all crazy shit if they see plants rolling down.
The idea that you had yesterday was pretty good too. We talked about making casting as a small piece that.
Yeah, so-
artists would get involved with and, to get sponsors for this piece of sculpture. And basically you could make it a sculpture of the first time home that you made.
Yeah, well,
So it's like sort of representation.
Oh.
Exactly.
Cool. Cool, I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
You have
I like
one
that
of
too.
those painted, you have like an event to show all the pieces. Do some kind of. Awards ceremony. More like everybody's appreciating everybody's.
Okay, recognition is important.
Right, right. No, I love that, and I definitely, you know, that's kind of, that is something that I wanted to touch on anyway, and that's something.
Like press statement.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's, we did a lot of that, that's something that you might be interested in hearing about, parenting. My dad and I did a lot of these campaigns, it, really 3 of them, the Southeastern Guide Dogs, actually, that was even 3 times that we did it. We did like 3 rounds of it, and for global offensive against trafficking, where basically we cast out these sculptures. So these were like big dogs and ghosts, which be any size, big molds, and we cast them out. Same as the seahorse that I made, which I'll show you a picture of that. But then being able to find sponsors for them that want to support Communitopia, they basically sponsor both the artist and the sculpture. And the people who make the sculpture get paid an amount. They buy it like an upcharged price. Some of the money from that sponsorship goes to the painter. And to be honest, I feel like we should probably put more emphasis on paying the painter well, and like paying the people, paying the actual artist, making sure, because honestly, a lot of the artists kind of felt like shit because it was like in this program, because they were just like, I put a lot of work into this, and you're paying me $500, like, you know, this is way too much effort. So like we talk with people about like the sort of effort, but a smaller piece is also makes more sense.
The truth is, though, they get exposure too, so
Well,
artists are always looking.
exposure doesn't pay the bills.
It doesn't,
You'd be surprised, though,
it doesn't.
because in the art world, it does make a difference. It makes a big difference because even
I just know from working with musicians that like,
Music's
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well-
Oversaturation.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
But if your campaign is unique enough, in other words, if you have this thing that's unique to the Utopia vision of it all, then those artists that are attached to your, are also being seen by everyone that's attached to your.
Right, right. Right, and that's, I think that really goes into like the affiliates concept and really like this advertising for people. It's like, you know, we have these routes for people to exhibit their art and they like end up coming to us wanting to start putting their things into this space, and we can come up with a way to essentially do that. But yeah, I definitely think that's a really great way to fundraise. And as you said too, have these sort of like the events associated with that, right? So it makes the event bigger, this like fundraising gala or whatever, because you're actually like exhibiting this whole like new like revealing all this new art that people want to see.
It's also like a what do you call that? It's a press.
Yeah, it's a press event.
Yeah.
Press release. Press release.
Yeah. What they call it a press. Event call.
Press release.
No, that's the statement that you give to the press, but the PR event is called a press conference.
Press
That's it.
conference.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and that's, I think, you know, that's something that you are very aware of as far as like how to create these sorts of events. I'm connected with a lot of people who do events. You know, even Alchemy, I'd definitely be able to talk to.
I think we should plan a press conference for when we publish the Facebook page, like the event page, and officially organize the nonprofit. I think like this should be a one event where we're like, hey, we're doing this thing. It's happened. People are already doing this. They're already going to city council. They're already like planting.
So
forests,
I think that's the thing.
So it's
We're getting close. We should definitely start planning it. And what we want to have is at that time that we're having that event revealed, there's a shit ton of stuff that's already happened that we have pictures of everywhere, that we have videos, we have people talking about it, we have people coming up discussing what they've been doing, you know, preparing everybody for being able to, you know, really exhibit very clearly. And yes, absolutely invite the fucking media. You know, absolutely. They can spin it any which way they want to. It's fine because, you know, what we're doing is we know we're confident in the fact that we're just literally focusing on trying to help people with like food and shelter and like, you know, really.
Right, so I want to back up on that note, I want to back up a little bit, because you were saying about, it doesn't pay the bills. So what really happens here, what you guys are creating is something totally different than, like, say, for instance, Southeastern Guide Dogs we worked with before, because you really are actually supplying that the bills for people. Like, in other words, if you're providing them a home, you're providing food and water, you know, a place to stay and all that stuff. That's already wrapped into the deal. So you can't really say like, oh, I'm only getting $500. Where's the rest of what I should get?
Yeah.
The rest of what they get is they actually get to be part of your community and involved in all of that.
That's a good point too, and there's a lot more opportunities for them to exhibit their art. There's a lot more ways that they can get involved even beyond that.
In other words, every person that's contributing, including musicians, including artists, visual artists, whatever, you know, they're all getting something from it. And of course, they're all getting about the same thing.
Right.
So like if you go to an event and you invite 4 music artists to come and do their thing, they should be getting the 500 just like those other people that painted things. You know?
Right.
Because
Hey guys, I'm sorry, but I have to dip. I just want to say goodbye before I get off the phone.
No worries.
yeah, we're
Sorry for checking out early. It was good to meet some of you and chat with you. I have a question, but I'll just like put it in the group chat in a little bit. And Chris, if you want to set up a meeting today, I will be free in the next like hour or so. So just shoot me a message if you want to do that.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Yeah, we might be able to do
Alright,
that. Yeah, well, I'll just keep in touch with you. Thanks, Larissa.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Marissa.
Bye.
thank you.
Love you, appreciate you
Thanks
being
for
here.
coming.
Bye.
Wow.
I think I'm gonna, on that note, I think I'm gonna run too.
Yeah, I think
It
it's
seems like a good time to wrap it up. We
Good to
did
wrap
talk
up.
about all of the things that were on that list, you know, that people had voted for. I think we got a really good structure forming, for actually accomplishing some of these, some of these goals even quicker, so. Great job, team. Great job,
Thanks for
team.
being here.
Kaboom.
Do you want to decide on names for the group pages, so maybe someone else like Blitz could possibly create them if you're too busy?
Yeah, we could continue talking about that.
You could just write down the name,
I have them. I have them.
or send them, message them.
I can message them over, and then if you want.
That way they
some
can be
attention to it-
creative.
I mean, if anybody does want to do that, I'm down with it. There's still, there's workshopping involved in it. But I will say I will have a lot more time this coming week to be putting attention and energy into these things. I know the Seahorse thing is done. I've moved down to my space, like there's a lot of stuff going on. So, it'll happen when it
I'm moving
happens,
to
but
Savannah today.
yeah, that's
So
accurate.
I will see you all
Bon voyage.
when I can.
On
And
Zoom.
on Zoom.
Zoom. Not this meeting, I won't be able, I already know I have classes right during this time, so.
That's fine. That's why maybe it'd be good to do Saturday.
Be having recordings.
Yeah, and the recordings and stuff too.
I'll keep in touch.
Plenty of spaces for people to be involved in the conversation.
Okay.
All
Awesome.
right, thank you for
Thanks,
coming,
Ashley.
Ashley. I love
Thanks,
you.
Ashley.
Welcome.
I'll see you again soon too, I'm sure.
Yes, it's in the books. If Dad's gonna be coming, I'm gonna need to escort him to the warehouse and we'll have a formal meet of Dads and he's a lot, so I like to make sure I hold his hand and everyone else's when they, meet him. So
The meeting of the dads.
Right, that
Yes.
sounds good. When would he or you like to do that? You can just let me, it doesn't have to be decided right now, but I guess that is a question that is open on the floor and we can kind of like.
I would not be able to do it on a weekday. My schedule is way too much at the moment during the week, so it would need to be a Saturday or a Sunday.
Okay, that sounds good.